Welcome to the Hair of the Dog podcast. I'm Nicole Begley, and today I have a conversation with Shelley Paulson from Shelley Paulson Photography about why you can't ignore video any longer. Go ahead and stick with us. You're going to love it. See you in a minute.
Welcome to the Hair of the Dog podcast. If you're a pet photographer ready to make more money and start living a life by your design, you've come to the right place. And now, your host, pet photographer, travel addict, chocolate martini connoisseur, Nicole Begley.
Hey everybody, Nicole here from Hair of the Dog, and welcome back to another Hair of the Dog podcast. I have with me today a return guest, one of my favorites, Shelley Paulson from Shelley Paulson Photography up in the great state of Tiny Pop, also called Minnesota.
Tiny Pop. I'm not sure I've heard that one before.
Only people from like the Midwest, whoever calls things pop would get the pop soda part.
We love our pop around here. We don't call everything Coke.
That's funny. That's fine. Is that Texas? I think Texas does that.
Yeah, I think the South. Yeah, I'd like a Coke. What kind? I already said it's a Coke.
I said a Coke.
Are you a soda person then, or?
Pop. Pittsburgh was pop.
Okay.
I'm only water and chocolate martinis to be clear. So,
well, and I'm a Spindrift addict. There's, I probably have two Spindrift. It's fizzy water with real fruit juice in it, so it actually tastes like something more than just like it sat next to a coconut on a, on a truck somewhere.
That's funny. That's funny. I love it. But today's conversation is not about pop soda
or chocolate martinis.
I know. Somehow, this is so funny though, because truly somehow these podcast conversations almost always come back to food.
Yeah. Well,
almost every time. It's close to
We're
my
just
heart.
like the animals. We love to eat.
I know. We do. Anyway, but today, yes, we're not talking about soda or pop or whatever you want to call it in your neck of the woods. We are talking about some trends in the photography industry / video world. And really, I think we've all kind of seen this happen over the past, I know I have for the past 5 years. It's crazy changes. And that is the rise of video and video killing the movie?
Photography star. Yeah.
Yes.
I wonder how many people will get that reference, but it was Video Killed the Radio Star was the original reference.
That was the very first video on MTV, I think, back in the day.
Yeah, right. Back in the day,
like
when
mid-80s?
we were just babies, because we wouldn't remember that, would we?
Yeah, no. It was definitely not in late elementary school. Anyway.
Or high school. Or
yeah, no. Anyway. Yeah, fun fact, it's my husband's birthday today, and we're like, oh, wait, what? 46? Like, oh, I'm still 44 for another month and a half. But anyway, I digress. So so I know I've seen it. What have you witnessed kind of with the changes of the tide?
Well, I've seen video coming for a while, which is why I kind of started in 2014 to dabble with it, but it was still so hard back then. You had to have stabilizers and external monitors, and it was all manual focus, and, it was just like the average person wouldn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it, kind of put it on the shelf for a while, but as I saw the rise of mirrorless coming, I'm like, okay, something's going to happen here. This is getting easier. You can look through the viewfinder. Bodies have image stabilization built in, and then we're seeing this huge rise of vlogging, and I didn't realize how much of an impact that would have on video in general, even like movies,
right?
That people's tolerance for camera movement and imperfection in video is very high. In fact, like most of what you see on like TikTok or Instagram Reels is taken with people's phones, and we don't care. We just like the content. It doesn't have to be like this perfect cinematic, stable with sliders and jibs and steady cams. It's like, okay, I can just hold my camera and do a pretty good job. And especially with, the real top of the line mirrorless now, like the Canon R5 that you and I both have. I mean, it's just amazing to me with in-camera body stabilization paired with lens stabilization. Like, I don't even need a tripod anymore.
Wow.
I don't even need a monopod for the most part. I can kind of muddle my way through and not feel like I'm changing from photography to video in one setting.
Yeah, I have a confession. I haven't tried the video on my R5 yet at all.
Well, maybe after the summit, you'll be braver to try it.
Yes, I think I'll have to. Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And, I think, well, yeah. And even I remember, gosh, what camera did I first have that had video? Maybe did the 5D Mark III? Two did. I think that's.
Yeah, the first one with video, and then everything after that had it.
Yeah. And I remember having that, and like I played around with it a bit, but even with that one, it was too hard for my brain at the time to like go from photography brain to video brain, because like the frame rates and this and that and other, I'm like, too much. Yeah.
I know. It's a different headspace. And that's the thing that I think people don't realize is that, especially if you're putting together more than just like a few clips to put on social media, because that's like the most basic, anybody can do that. But if you want to actually put together something of any length and put it to music, something for a client, maybe you have to be thinking in a different way than just a single snapshot. You have to think, how could this be put together into like a narrative over time versus just this one instant? And one of the things that frustrated me with video was the fact that I couldn't just come home from a shoot, put in my car, download it, do a quick edit, and put it up as a sneak peek. I'm like, no, it's much more involved than that. But the more comfortable I get with the workflow, the little bit more I'm able to do of that. But it's just a more time-intensive process after the fact too. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that's gotten a little bit better. Has that gotten better? The post-production portion of video, has that gotten a bit more streamlined in the past couple of years? I mean, I know it's still a lot more than photography. Yeah.
Well, actually, I do talk about that. I'm going to talk about that in my summit class, because there's a new product. I don't know how new, or if I just discovered it from Adobe.
New to you.
Yeah. New to me. There's a new video editing software that's like a simplified version of Premiere. And it does some pretty freaking amazing things that really just kind of, I think for the person just starting video, would find it less intimidating than the entire Premiere environment, which, I don't use half of the features,
right.
So I do think there's some ways to do it that are a little less overwhelming.
Right.
But yeah. And, the tough thing too is just, getting clients to want to pay for the amount of time that it takes to do video, because doing an edit on a video is probably more than doing an edit on a full session, depending on how fast you are at either.
Yeah.
So, so there's some challenges there, but again, with everything, workflow is key, and being able to do it without spending 3 days on it.
Right. And, just like outsourcing for our photography editing is a doable thing. I know for me, I have zero interest in learning the video editing. So I have a team member that does that.
Yeah.
I can just send my amazing team member, like, here's some B-roll. Can you make something beautiful? Or sometimes, this is amazing, this is how good she is, I'll sometimes just record an audio voiceover, and I'm like, hey, Venus, can you please create something with that? And she does. And she's amazing with just the random B-roll that she has of me. So
I need
there's
her
a
name.
gazillion. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm sharing. That'll cost you.
She is your best kept secret.
I'm definitely not sharing publicly.
But I definitely think
she's amazing.
Having somebody like that, especially if you were like, I have all this footage and I just want like a sizzle reel for Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
And you could send that footage off to somebody, and they take the best clips, they edit it together to some song that you want to use or whatever.
Yep.
That would be an amazing way to do it that doesn't feel overwhelming, because now you have to learn like a whole new piece of software.
Right. And there's a ton of video editors on Upwork, Fiverr, places like that, that are looking to do that kind of stuff. And you can even probably make a really short, like even if you're like a 30-second clip, so it doesn't cost you a fortune, and hire like 3. Test them out, see their samples, send it to 3, see who you like the best, and then you have a little outsourced video editor. That's assuming you don't want to learn it. But, if you want to learn it, that's always a great skill. And I think it just comes down to determining how much time you have and interest. Like if you're into it, you'll make the time. If you're like, oh my God, please no, I have no desire, then okay, outsource. But whatever reason, we should start doing some video.
Yeah. Well, and I used to kind of hate the editing process, but honestly, the more I do it, the faster I get, the more I like it. And the more I like, when I'm putting together something where I'm trying to tell a story, I feel like I have to be the one doing it. But if it was just like a few clips for, Instagram or TikTok, I would have no problem sending that out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe let's talk a little bit about where someone might want to start using some video or how they might want to start incorporating it. Definitely social media. I don't know if this was an official quote from someone at Instagram HQ or if it was like taken that way, but they basically said that like Instagram's becoming a video platform.
Yeah, the head of Instagram said it's no longer a photo sharing app.
Yeah, there you go. Doesn't get any clearer than that.
So there's that. And I just saw something this morning about how, how you've got Instagram TV and then you have in-feed videos that are like posts.
Right.
They're going to merge those and just call it Instagram video. And so if you've posted video to your feed, it'll end up in that section of your Instagram. And so, I see Instagram definitely putting all their eggs in the video basket. And, if you're not using all of Instagram's features, they throttle your reach. And the more you use, like if you've never done a reel, the first time you do a reel, you are going to get like 3,000% more engagement on everything on your account for like a week because they want to get you hooked. And maybe not 3,000, but for sure, like 300 to 400%.
Wow.
Upward. And that just tells you their commitment, they're wanting to drive people in the direction of video. So even just for your own social media, and like a friend of mine, like she always has somebody just doing a little bit of cell phone footage while she's shooting. And then she shows the picture that she was taking. It's super simple. Doesn't have to actually roll any video from her camera. Right. It's just, behind the scenes and there's the photo, and it's really helped her reach. So yeah, you don't even have to use your good camera.
I think that's a huge point, is that the rise of all these, like the TikToks and the Instagram reels and Facebook lives and all that stuff, especially though, like TikTok and things like that, like we are 100% okay with that imperfect video. We just want the movement because our brains can't handle anything still because we've been so addicted to all of this input.
Yes.
So let's feed the beast. Give them more. Give the people what they want.
And yet, like I follow a few accounts. There's this one, I can't think of the name, but I'll give you the link. You can put it in the show notes. I can't think of the name because it's a very long, like French or Italian or something name. Right. And they film these dressage horses, these very high-end dressage horses in slow-mo. Or have you seen the foal auction ones where it's like the foal and it's all braided up and it's at the foal auction or the foal whatever, where they certify the foal or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's all very slow motion and it's very fancy. And that you see the trotting and then they stop and they show the foal just kind of looking to the right or to the left and then go back to some more movement. And it's so emotional with the music. And that's the thing too, that video can do, I think, better than photography is like move you. So I have a story with that. I have a really long time client that was donating their horse to a riding program, and they have spent years trying to get this horse back to be able to compete and be ridden, and they just finally gave up. And so she's going to do therapy where it's like business coaching, personal coaching. So there's no riding involved. And so I decided to do kind of a secret thing while I was doing their photo session. And so I would have them in a situation, I would take the photos and get the photos that I needed. And then I would video the same kind of spot, the same kind of movements. I happened to catch a video when the girl broke down and tears were streaming down her cheeks. And then they came in for an in-person ordering session. And I said, I have a surprise for you. And I'm going to get emotional just sharing this story.
Yeah, right.
And I played the video for them and we all sat and cried and they just sobbed and held each other, the mother and the daughter. And it was just like, showing them photos does not have that effect. It doesn't draw your emotions out like it does when you have this music. And I picked a song that had words, but it was properly licensed. And it was, I don't remember, but I remember it just really fit like how how she felt about her horse. And
Right.
I mean, they were just over the moon. And it really was super simple. It was just, I took the photos and then I did a little video. And then, before the ordering session, I put it to music. That part's not that simple, but the filming of it was pretty simple.
Could you do something as simple as, because like Animoto and those other slideshow things, you can throw up like 8 seconds of video. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you were going to kind of do that of like, here's the still shots I'm capturing, I flip my camera over to video, capture a couple seconds, and then just kind of upload it all. And then hopefully that can kind of be somewhat easier to put together than if you were going to go like full on custom.
Yeah, and I didn't do any stills in that video. I did, but I put them in like a slideshow kind of thing.
Gotcha.
That was an add-on for Premiere. But I think one way to do it that would be really easy would be if you did have like video, and then a couple of stills, maybe with a little bit of a Ken Burns effect where it like zooms in and out, and then a little more video, and really like you could intersperse both very well. Right. And I was just at a conference where a guy had done a cowboy documentary, and he did that. And I asked him about it because his whole presentation at this conference was about how to mix video and stills. I was like, hey, and he was doing like full on documentaries. And I said, well, how do you decide when to do what, which one? And he said, well, I used the stills to let the film just kind of breathe and take a moment. Mm. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, writing it all down as I'm going. Because I haven't really done that, but it really inspired me to think about that way of doing it where you're not just doing it, but you're mixing it in the final product.
Yeah. And I can imagine too, like even if you did that quick, easy, like a couple seconds and you're putting in with the regular, just basically adding some video into your regular slideshow, that is going to become such a higher value slideshow item for your client that you can use that as hey, it's not for sale, it's just a bonus at a certain spending level, or some other incredible carrot to encourage your clients to purchase what you what you hope that they will purchase as a free gift. That's definitely, I think, something that people would have to figure out, because I'm pretty sure that when you show them that, the client's going to be like, how do I get that? So definitely need an answer for that and figure out, like whatever price it is a la carte, or they can get it as a bonus or something. Do you have yours priced with I have it
priced kind of low. It like covers my time just because I know how much time and value it has.
Yeah.
But I used to try and sell them at what I thought that price would be, and I never sold one.
Yeah. I feel like it would be challenging because I think it's one of those things that people don't realize how much they will treasure that until they see it. Mm-hmm. So if you're just marketing like, hey, I'm going to make you a video, I think that would be hard to market because they don't know how much they would love it. But if it's then like the photography session, you're like, oh, look at this special bonus you didn't know was coming. Uh-huh. And you can get it for free if you XYZ.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, the year that I did the most what I called moving portraits, was 2018. And I just did them for free to get the practice, to learn how to do it. And, but yeah, I really have not. I'm trying to think if I've had very many people book ahead of time. Like you said, I think it's hard to really show the value, but I think it's something you could certainly sell after the fact, just like how people sell slideshows after the fact, you know, like, oh, can I get the slideshow? Sure. For this amount or whatever. And I think end of life sessions are like the perfect time to do those and even do it sneaky like I did and knock your client's socks off and be their friend for life.
Yeah. Because I imagine people are nervous about being in front of the camera for still photographs. I can imagine they're even more nervous for being in front of the camera for video.
Yeah. So, because you can't liquefy people in video, I mean,
you're like, oh, you're not going to smooth all the skin, get rid of these wrinkles,
all those flyaway hairs, and you do have to. And
now the video is like 37K, so you can see all of the details. You can see each of my pores.
Yes. Yeah, let's do a soft glow filter over the entire thing and squeeze it about 90% horizontally. There, I like that.
I remember that when like the first like HD kind of TV stuff started coming out, and like all the newscasters went from like normal def to high def, and you're like, oh,
I don't think I wanted to see that.
You're like, this is no longer a media for older men.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
that
I
is
digress.
something though I address in the class is, when to choose 4K, when to choose 1080. Like I do get very technical. People can take in as much as they want of the technical stuff, or just skim the top off and just go for because I also am like, these are my settings. So if you just want to copy my settings and then go out and try it, then you can do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine it's kind of, learning photography, or you can start to get the basis of like, all right, I'm just going to shoot on aperture priority, or all right, now I'm going to go full manual and I'm going to add 3 lights.
Yeah, exactly. And a backdrop and a horse. And,
right.
And we're just going to we're going to drive ourselves crazy with how much we have to know now. And now let's learn video. Yeah, no, it is one of those things where I think people could start simple. And, even the latest iPhones have cinema mode now. And all these cinematographers are saying, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so I haven't had a chance to test it myself, but part of me is very interested in that. Like how could I mix iPhone footage from, with my other footage? And, that's all kind of, the technology is just moving so fast.
It really is.
It's so dizzying. Like, yeah.
It's crazy. You were mentioning before, we were just chatting before we got started talking about kind of what this looks like going forward with these mirrorless cameras. What do you think, I've seen a lot of changes in 5 years. What do you think like the next 5 years might bring?
I think they're going to get better. They're going to get more accurate with focus, that you're going to get higher and higher resolution. And ultimately, what I was saying earlier and what I said in my newsletter a couple months ago is I think there's going to be merging of still photography and video. I think you'll still be able to create stills, just like you can still make film photos now. You can use a film camera. But I did some shooting up at a horse show in Canada in August, and I filmed in 4K. And I shot at a higher shutter speed than you're supposed to for video. And I was able to pull some pretty decent stills. And especially for that client who shows images on social media 90% of the time. I mean, they print a few things, but it's super rare. The idea that you could pull stills from video, even now, a 4K still, you could easily do a 16 by 24, probably even a 24 by 36 canvas. Yeah. And as long as it's focused and your shutter speed is what it would need to be for photos, you can get a really nice image. Now it's a JPEG unless you're shooting 4K RAW and you're crazy and have, a
supercomputer that's the size of your room.
Supercomputer and an ice pack for your camera if you have a Canon R5.
Or shooting in Minnesota in January, you'll be good.
Yeah. I know, it was so funny because that was the thing. Like when I got the R5, suddenly it was winter and I'm like, no, I don't have any overheating problems. And then I took it to Florida and I was like, oh, there's the overheating thing they were all talking about.
Except I can imagine in January it doesn't overheat, but you're like, oh, my battery goes really fast now.
Yeah. Maybe it actually gives me extra battery life when the camera is really hot. Yeah. But those kinds of problems too will get resolved, with the overheating and all of that. The memory will get cheaper because, all this 4K stuff just takes tons of card space.
Right.
But, this idea that 5 years from now, 8K, 16K raw files out of your camera. I mean, right now, the Canon R3 is doing 30 frames per second raw.
Wow.
Okay, so that's a video. You put those raw files together and that's a video. That's enough frames for a video.
Yeah.
So I just think, especially for a portrait session, when things are moving very slowly or medium slowly, you could be filming and not have to have a ridiculous high shutter speed and get fairly smooth video and nice stills at the same time. And so that's my prediction. And that's partly why I'm committed to continue pressing through the discomfort of learning this new thing that I've been learning for about 7 years now. But with each new camera, it's kind of a start over. And then as, like learning how to do reels and how all that works, I'm a holdout on TikTok. I just can't.
I'm with you. I'm on there, but I don't have I haven't posted anything.
Yeah. Okay.
There's actually a large amount of time suck that happens there. I have to take it off my phone. I'm like, okay, no, I cannot be trusted for any more TikTok. And I've trained it all that it's horses and travel, funny dog videos, and some funny mom ones, and that's it. But mostly horses and travel.
And I mean, yeah, what better thing to waste your time on than horses and travel?
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. Actually, when I got a new phone, I think I had to make a new TikTok account because I couldn't remember what the heck I made my account for the other one and so you have to like relog in when you get a new operating system and upgrade your phone. And then I got in there, I'm like, oh, all my training's done. I had to like retrain it again because it started showing me everything. I'm like, oh no, but it didn't take long.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, one other thought too about, I think I've seen a lot of photographers start video and walk away. And I think that we're going to have to get past that. And I think the gear is going to help, but especially anyone that's really considering doing any kind of commercial or like personal branding work or small, working with small businesses. If you're able to do video, you are 10 times more likely to get hired for those things. And so, we're talking about it. We've been talking about it more in the context of a portrait session, but I've done video clips for a commercial client where I just like did little camera movements with some of their products, and they use those on Amazon because Amazon wants you to have video of your products. And so I put their product, their fly spray on a fence post and film it while the horse kind of puts his nose up and checks it out. And then they put that on Amazon, and that makes me a more valuable person to work with than the photographer, this photographer that doesn't have any video skills and doesn't offer that. And so it's certainly a competitive advantage and worth the effort to learn it. But if you take my class, it'll be a little easier to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just trying to dig through all the YouTube videos out there.
Oh, yeah. Anytime that it can be a little bit more focused is definitely helpful. I'm just thinking about when I had my branding photos done, that the photos are super helpful. But yeah, man, if she could have done some little video of me at the computer or, just some movement that you can then put into little intros or things like that or social media, that's huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So
you can see it now. I can see the light bulbs turning on. Yes.
Yes. So fantastic. So so all of you guys out there, whether you're portrait, dog portraits, horse portraits, small business branding stuff, commercial stuff, gosh, even like, imagine like food photography, real estate, like all of it can probably benefit. And I think we're going to be moving in that direction as we keep getting more video focused as a society. Yeah. So this class you keep referring to, I guess I should give people some more information about this. Yeah. Shelley is going to be one of our speakers at the Hair of the Dog Summit, which you have hopefully heard of by now. It's going to be happening November 2nd through 4th online. And we are going to have, I believe, 17 speakers at this point over 3 days with all sorts of stuff from craft to business to help you improve your craft, grow your business. And Shelley's going to be doing an incredible course on video, photo, fusion stuff. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what exactly your class is covering?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of start from the ground up. Like, what are the basics technically? I promise not to get in the weeds on the technology part of it, but it is a very technical thing. You need to know things like what shutter speed and what frame rates and profiles and all of that. And, how to stabilize if you don't have a stabilized body and lens and, so just some basics. It's going to be a little bit of hacks. Like, these are the hacks that I've learned to make it easy. I'm not going to get into, with proper filmmaking technique, you can find that on YouTube. And then just some practical, like, what are some camera moves that you can think of? You can have this list. You can maybe I'll make a handout or something of like camera moves.
Oh, you just put that on the podcast. Now you're going to have to.
I'm committed now. Okay. Maybe that'll be for the VIPs. They get the handout. And yeah, so different camera moves, and then, just overview of where I find music and the software I like to edit in. The editing is like kind of a whole separate ball of wax, so I can't include that in this course, but I can just kind of give you the 10,000 foot view, some hacks and some just basics. I think a person could watch this class and then take their camera out and go make some video.
Yeah, that's awesome. And even just grabbing those snippets and sticking in your like Animoto, your video slideshow creation software, boom, you can upgrade those slideshows really quick and then get hooked and then continue diving deep into the world of video. That's awesome. So you guys head on over to petphotographysummit.com and go sign up for the summit. If you've been around, we're doing the summit a little bit differently this year. This year, the summit to register and attend is only $10. $10, you guys, $10 US. Crazy town. And it gets even better. That $10 is 100% going to be donated to the Hair of the Dog Conservation Fund, the Hair of the Dog nonprofit that then supports wildlife conservation all over the globe. So you will learn video and save wild animals. Win-win. It is awesome. And when you register for that $10, you get access live the day of. A lot of the classes will be held live. Some will be pre-recorded, but there'll all be access to get some Q&As from the instructor at some point during the summit. And you'll have access for them like during that day. So Tuesday's classes will be available all day Tuesday. There'll be a replay page. They'll be available all night Tuesday if you guys are in Australia and you can't be up during the day to join us live. And then the next day at Tuesday, we'll start again with those Wednesday classes. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the days of the summit. But then if you are like, man, so much good stuff, I want to refer back to Shelley's class and all these other amazing classes, you can also choose to join us as a VIP all access pass holder, which you get all the audio recordings, video recordings, and a whole bunch of special bonuses from a lot of our speakers. It's going to be kind of a no-brainer, super value. You will love it. So head on over, petphotographysummit.com. Check it out. Registration's open now, and we start on November 2nd. Woohoo! So excited.
Me
Shelley,
too.
thank you so much for sharing a little sneak peek into the video. Hopefully you guys are inspired to go out and start playing around with some video, and then, circle back and come see Shelley at the summit so that you are ready to go and really start knocking it out of the park with some great, easy video hacks for your camera. Awesome. Thanks again, Shelley, for joining us. Really appreciated
Thanks
having you again. Of course. Actually, before I go, let everybody know where they can find you on the internet too.
ShelleyPaulson.com, SHELLEY. Make sure you get that E before the Y. Paulson with an O-N, ShelleyPaulson.com. I'm also at Shelley Paulson on Instagram, Facebook, and not TikTok.
We're holding strong.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand my ground.
Excellent. All right. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next week. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, go ahead and take a screenshot of this episode on your phone and post it up there on your Instagram stories, and be sure to tag us at Hair of the Dog Academy. And we would just love to see how you're listening. And full disclosure, sometimes we just like to give away a little pet photographer swag in the form of Hair of the Dog t-shirts and sweatshirts. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and share that screenshot of this episode, and don't forget to tag us at Hair of the Dog Academy. And while you're there, maybe you want to jump on over to our account and see what we're up to on the gram. Would love to connect with you. Thanks for listening to the Hair of the Dog podcast. This was episode number 109. If you want to check out the show notes for access to any of the links that we shared in this episode, simply go to www.hairofthedogacademy.com/109.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Hair of the Dog podcast. If you enjoyed this show, please take a minute to leave a review. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming episodes. One last thing, if you are ready to dive into more resources, head over to our website at www.hairofthedogacademy.com. Thanks for being a part of this pet photography community.